had to have it. Alright guys, welcome back to another installment of high flow and efficiency in our L5P Duramax. So we left off with the manifolds getting put on this old girl, or getting taken off. Now we're going to work on the up pipes. I want to get them off, and we'll see what else we get. So I think because we are doing a turbo change as well, I'm going to just go ahead and fight this downpipe. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what an L5P downpipe looks like, normally the DOC sits on the back of the turbocharger, and then it's basically a two-piece downpipe. Honestly, the factory stuff, pretty cool. This aftermarket one is one piece, so it goes all the way down, comes down, and goes through here. Not a bad design, but they make the alignment portion of that downpipe super duper long, so that could be fun. We have applied copious amounts of WD-40 to our up pipe bolts. Worst comes to worst, if we end up breaking it, it is what it is. They sell these pedestals, and again, a lot of this stuff will be easier to explain / show you guys once we get a lot of it out, and I can get you better close-ups on it. So I'm going to try to get the camera in a decent spot, but essentially we're going for these bolts down here in the valley for the up pipes, and you guys can see like the factory bellows down there, and you can also kind of get a better gist of this downpipe here, and where those bolts are located. Previous generations of Duramax, those up pipe bolts are much further towards the firewall, making them quite a pain in the butt. So first thing I'm gonna do is do what I normally do. I'm gonna wipe this truck down, put saran wrap on the fenders, and yes, you know, if that's what a customer wants, or that's what we deem necessary, even here at the home garage, we take good care of stuff. So the intake's got to come out. The intake manifold, or whatever you'd like to call this piece, the mouthpiece, I've seen it referred to many different ways. Get that removed. We also got to kind of peel back this wiring harness to get to the turbocharger, but I'd like to get some more disassembly done today. As far as coolant goes, okay, so I've had some decent ideas. I think what I'm going to do is disconnect the coolant lines and then stick a plug in both of the coolant lines. Minimal coolant loss is the goal, and then, you know, top off. If we have to end up draining it, so be it. Realistically, we could fill it. It's just these trucks are not easy to fill. I was actually able to find a way to fill this kind of more of a normal way. It just takes a lot longer. Again, something so extra that didn't need to be done, yet here we are. But anyway, let's start ripping this thing apart, get to work today. Less yapping, more wrenching. All right, belly of the beast. Sorry about all the back and forth trips to the secondary garage there, but we ended up getting pretty far. I did have to take the AC compressor off. My only tip to you guys is you don't have to actually pull this bolt all the way out. You just have to loosen it to get the AC compressor out, and then just like any other Duramax here, just slide it off to the side. Very easy. The Y bridge or intake charge pipe, whatever you want to call it, you just take this harness, move it up and over, pull that out. My memory was a little foggy, so we ended up getting it halfway out, realizing I had to take the AC off, and then I just leave the ratchet in there. That way you remember, I guess. I'm not sure. But there is our stock GM turbo, as you can see. Very, very stock. And we're going to make it not stock. So we got that out of the way. Kind of just going with the flow today. Whatever really tickled my fancy. I think what we're going to do is pull the turbocharger out now, and then access our up pipes. I don't necessarily think you have to do that, but because the turbo does have to come out anyway, we are going to go that route. So I don't want to mislead anybody on how hard this task is, anything like that. This is a very, very simple procedure to pull the turbochargers on these, especially if they breathe freely. And all that's left really is a couple coolant lines. We have the oil feed. Then you guys can see right there, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts that hold it down. Obviously, we will have to disconnect our VGT actuator right here. And then on this side, you guys can see we just have the one line there as well. So very, very simple on the Duramax for a turbocharger. We already got our downpipe clamp off. And then I guess the other thing I got to unhook is this temperature sensor as well. So just kind of looking at it, again, if I misspeak, I'm going to try and go back and correct the record. So I apologize if you're like, oh, like what the heck is he talking about? It is not intentional. You know, I'm by no means a L5P expert, just a random guy now in his 2-car garage making it work. Once we have the downpipe out, these up pipes are going to be a piece of cake. From there, my plan is to install the new up pipes. Once we install the new up pipes up here, we will tighten them. We'll move down here, put our manifolds on the cylinder heads, get that buttoned up. And then I guess we're just going to patiently await our turbo. It is currently in transit. Some of the other things I was looking at doing while I was here, maybe getting rid of our CCV, getting a reroute kit on that. If I can get one here quick enough, we might also tackle that. It just seems silly to not upgrade that while we're here. And then I've been going back and forth on the fabricated coolant tanks. In my heart, I know it's purely an aesthetic upgrade. You know, my mind's telling me no, but my body's telling me yes, so to speak. But that's current situation. Obviously, you want to make sure you plug all your holes. That is the intake on your Duramax. So this is where the compressed air enters the engine. You have your driver side bank, passenger side bank. In my opinion, a much better setup than previous generations of Duramax with the dreaded Y bridge, and especially once you get an upgraded Y bridge, they are just a nightmare in my opinion. But this is the piece here. Very, 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 very sleek. My only, I guess, gripe with this configuration is I wish GM would have made it 2-piece. Like if they could have cut this here, made this bolt in or something. Although it is another place for boost to leak, it would have made this piece a little bit more manageable to get out, but all in all, not terrible. So I'm gonna get tidied up. We just had a diag drop off, so I'm gonna get on that, get that guy figured out, and then there went my screwdriver. Do not leave tools unattended on the cowl. Luckily though, it's like a vending machine. Drop something in there, comes out down there. that. So unfortunately, was not able to block the cooling system completely off. I'd say all in all, we lost about a gallon. I also forgot about this freaking line over here for the crankcase. Oh well, is what it is. But we got it done. So this is your oil feed. Coolant. This coolant line I routed over there. This goes to your CCV. And now we are in the belly of the beast here. Okay, this is just the heart of this V8 monster truck. Was able to get the downpipe out, which is nice. Now we have a straight clear shot to our up pipes. Whether or not this needed to be done, I could argue either way. However, the goal is to get you guys good content. So that is what we are doing. This is the new design pedestal for the L5P. And now you guys kind of get a really good look at the up pipe layout, where the turbo sits in relation to our HP4 down there. Very, very nice layout. The turbo, you know, maybe I just need to start hitting the gym instead of hitting the tacos, but these turbos are not for the faint of heart. They are pretty heavy. And minimum cooling loss, I'd say we lost about a gallon. We should be able to just fill it the normal way, I hope. That's my goal. If we have to vacuum fill it, so be it. But that's where we're at. Pretty good progress. About maybe an hour and a half of, you know, hours of work this morning to get the turbos off. Once these things are free flowing, it's pretty easy to work on them. Now I got to suck all that coolant out. We're gonna probably go to the old Harbor Freight here and pick up a vacuum sucker machine, but not too bad. Pretty clean in here as well. You guys can kind of see this is what the CCV area looks like. So non-CCV side, CCV side. We'll make sure we get some liquid cancer in there, clean that up best we can. Really make sure this valley is nice and tidy. We don't want any leaks. There's your turbo oil drain down there. Again, pretty easy design to line up and everything. The biggest thing is when you go to put the turbo back in, this coolant line has to be clocked the right way. It needs to be over here. If you get it caught over here, there's no way to get it routed back correctly without essentially pulling it apart. So not the best design on the coolant side of things for these L5Ps. Could it be worse? Yes. Could it be better? 1000% yes. So I'm gonna probably stop here, clean up. We gotta go check out a car for a local degenerate, and then we will pick this up probably tomorrow, pulling everything apart on the up pipes, and then we'll probably end that video there with the old up pipes off, and then we'll probably do 2 videos of putting this thing back together. Easier to digest, easier to edit, and keeps the videos from being super long. We have the driver's side body mount bolts out, and we are going to jack up the cab to allow us to get that up pipe out. And I'm pretty confident I could get the up pipe out without this step. However, I don't know if we would be able to get the larger PPE one in, and that in lies the problem. So we haven't disrupted anything yet. E-brake's starting to get pretty tight though. Hopefully now we can come up here and get our pipe out. Okay, we didn't really want to give up, and we didn't. So what ended up happening actually is this, I thought it was the up pipe. It was really this gasket that's riveted on that really gave me a run for my money. Almost lost my cool, but that is our driver's side up pipe. Pulling the cab up, literally guys, 4 bolts, a jack, up, made a world of difference. So again, nothing crazy. You don't need a lift. After doing that, I think that's how I would do a downpipe if I was going to remove something. Anyway, very, very easy to lift the cab up like that. I like that method. And then here is our passenger side up pipe, which came out without a hiccup, mostly because there's so much stuff with the stock down pipe and the EGR and all that stuff. So as you can see, the bellow is somewhat loose, not like broken, but definitely loose. Whereas this one feels a little better. So I'm not saying that our up pipes are about to blow out, but I am saying that if I'm going to do this job, we're going to do it all the way. Unfortunately, we did break one up pipe bolt in the whatever you want to call this, pedestal. That's what I'm going to call it. So because we only broke one, I'm going to try and weld that and get it out. If we are unsuccessful, we'll just get another one. They're not that expensive. $100 or so gets us a new one. So we might go that route. Just kind of depends. I'm also going to see if they have any like ported ones, higher flow, see what they have to offer. Okay, so we got real lucky on this pedestal here. Only one broke. So I drilled it out. I just missed center by ever so much. I think it still would have held the bolt, but we went ahead, drilled, tapped, helicoil. Helicoil is very misunderstood. It is very strong, even in this application. So helicoiled it, knocked the notch out, sits below. So we are in business. I'm going to just flat sand this flange here. I'm also going to brake clean it off. Probably just a little barbecue paint. I know it won't last long, but it'll look good at least going back together. So Dirty Hooker Diesel does keep these in stock. They recondition them. By that, I'm sure they fix the threads, chase the threads, surface them, whatever. But they do keep them in stock. They were our next call, but luckily we were able to salvage this one. So now we have the up pipes, turbo, as well as the pedestal fixed. Our turbo will come with all new gaskets, and then here you guys can see our up pipes. This heat shield is the driver's, and just absolute units here. These are the factory ones, and then if you guys want to look here, that's unfortunate. So here is our PPE replacement ones. I'm assuming this is probably, yeah, I'd say this is the passenger side. So you guys can see here just the big difference. These are 2-inch. These are 1 3/4 inch. So much larger. Help breathe, reduce some drive pressure buildup. And you guys can kind of see the difference here on the inlets and outlets. PPE really took full advantage of the gasket surface area here. You know, nice welding, very nice bellow. If you guys look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bellows. This factory one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So extra 4 bellows, which should really help with the expansion. PPE does allow you to reuse your factory heat shield. They weld the tabs on. I am kind of curious to see how this PPE up pipe fits with the driver's side. It is very tight, but we'll see. You know, I will withhold all judgment. I already did check these. These flanges are flat. Very nice flat with a straight edge. So I'm happy about that. Sometimes it can warp if you weld them incorrectly, but obviously PPE nailed it. So that's where we're at. So guys, we are now fully removed on our L5P. Turbo's out, pedestal's out, up pipes are out, manifolds out, studs are out, all that stuff is out. Y-bridge, you guys saw me take it all apart. Very, very simple. Even with the pedestal problem, again, like I worked maybe 2 hours on this. So I'd say so far, maybe maybe 3.5 hours, 4 tops on this whole project. And keep in mind, if you're just doing a turbo swap, you don't have to do a lot of this stuff. Like, we wouldn't have had to do the up pipes. So some of this we're just adding for the up pipes. I really want to give this turbo every opportunity to live in this truck under this abuse. So that is why I wanted a fresh slate. I knew we had that screech noise. It hadn't really gotten any worse, but it was bothering me. I'm glad we did it. I said, screw it. Let's just do up pipes and manifolds. I'm glad I did. Looking again, I showed you guys the side-by-side on the stock versus PPE. Very, very nice. The manifolds, again, I don't know sometimes it's a little confusing, TikTok versus YouTube, but you guys can see here the difference between our stock and our PPE manifolds. The PPE ones are coated. They got a nice tubular design to them, so to speak. All the factory heat shields still line up. We just got to swap this sensor over, swap this plate over. But very, very nice upgrade. And if you look at it from this end, you guys can see here just how much better flow. Like, all of this is nice and round inside of there. Whereas the factory Duramax, very, I guess the term would be square, very rectangle-like. And it, anytime you can make it a round radius versus more of a boxed end, it's going to be better for flow, especially when you look at like the front cylinder, how it's got a nice smooth transition. Very, very nice from PPE. I know that Worley sells manifolds. The sad part is Worley even sells them with the EGR port on them. However, they will not ship to California. So is what it is. I really didn't want to burn up a bunch of my resources getting these parts into California. So I decided to say, screw it, not mess with it. And now you guys can kind of see where it sits on the gasket. And then we move over here, and PPE took advantage of a little bit nicer radius on some of that stuff. And like this pressure pulse now really wants to kind of really tries to turn more, whereas the factory is more of a straight shot. So they really did take a lot more time to kind of encourage the exhaust to not only come out of the cylinder, but also follow the path out to the up pipe. So very, very excited on what these should do for us. Again, I don't think we're going to set a land speed record by any means with these new manifolds. It's just every little bit helps. The only other thing I'm going to do off camera is just kind of port this out. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm basically just going to try to smooth some of this transition in here. Kind of blend it a little bit just by hand. I'm going to spend maybe 5-10 minutes with a roller cartridge, just kind of knock down some of the sharp edges. You guys could see here, we could take advantage of a little bit more of the mouthpiece here going to the turbine housing, and just kind of gasket match everything. Now that I have a lot more time, I'm going to take it and make it better. So in a nutshell, not a very hard job. Basic hand tools, some swivel sockets. If you don't have swivel sockets, do not try to work on one of these things. You need swivel sockets. As far as being able to see stuff, very easy, but you do need some flexibility, so to speak, with your being able to remove bolts. And then I definitely would make sure you have a good quality socket, especially on like the up pipes, stuff like that, because whether they do come out or you break them, you don't want to strip them, because that would lead to just a whole host of other problems. So give this one a big thumbs up. This is part 2, fully removed. Part 3, we will start bolting on our new stuff. Since I saved the pedestal, we will be putting the pedestal, the up pipes, the manifolds back on, and we are still waiting for our turbocharger to get here. And then once the turbo gets here, we also got another little surprise for you guys as well. And we're just going to kind of keep knocking it out. I hope the truck will be down in real life for about 8 days. Not bad. I kind of changed my mind on a couple of parts and ordered some stuff just because I want to do... I'm not necessarily wanting to enter it into a show and shine, but I do want this truck to represent, just kind of being clean. We take our time with it. And this truck really, of all the trucks I've had for tow rigs, like, keeping it clean, making sure everything looks nice. Like I want this truck to really kind of be a nice piece, whether it stays a tow truck, turns into a race truck, what have you. I want it to look nice. So give this one a big thumbs up. Drop your comments down below. Subscribe if you're not already. L5P Duramax content, more on the way. After this, we're diving into our quad cab Cummins. We got to get that ready for Diesels on the Mountain. So like this one, drop your comments, subscribe if you're not already, and as always, I'll catch y'all on the next one.